Antonia Harman, welcome to the show. Welcome to the world's best trauma recovery podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Anna.
I want you to introduce yourself in a second, but I want to tell about my personal experience.
Do.
You are a divine empowerment healer, and we met a couple of weeks ago, and after our conversation, our healing session, it was something that is very hard to describe in words. So what you did with me was a very powerful healing. And I want you to explain people, what was it?
Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Antonia from Divine Empowerment, and I dissolve traumas. I do quite a lot of other things, but what Anna has experienced is me dissolving traumas. Now, it sounds too good to be true. And this is how I've ended up on this podcast because it sounds ridiculous. What I do is dissolve the resonance with something that happened. So obviously we've all had difficult situations and then we get reminded of them. So we get triggered in some certain way, something reminds us of the situation, or we actually just willingly go into whatever the trauma was. And you're quiet and calm, and then suddenly you're reminded what you think of it. And then this whole thing just descends on you. This emotion just descends on you when you remember certain situations. When people do that, I can tap into that and I can dissolve it instantly. So people who've had traumas for decades, I literally dissolve the resonance with the trauma because it's like a gas. So you know when you hang around somebody who's angry or upset, they have anxiety, you walk into the room, you're like, ooh, or someone's got depression and you can feel it immediately. It's just in the air around them. So you know that you can feel these emotions, and I've just taken it to the next step, which is learn how to dissolve them. And then I also work on diseases in the same way, because diseases are frozen traumas and stuck emotions. So you get fixated on something for a long period of time, and that densifies until you get a disease. We can talk about that in a bit. But basically, what I asked you to do was talk about one of the most awful things that ever happened to you. And I know you've done a significant amount of trauma work yourself, but I asked you to open up Pandora's box to think about that situation, and I dissolved the resonance. And then within a couple of minutes, it just felt empty and at peace.
And I was crying. I was bawling my eyes again. Even after all these years of healing my trauma, there is something else was stuck. It's unbelievable. How does it feel like when you work with someone? How does trauma feel for you?
Dense. It's really interesting. So see, I think everyone has an awareness of this, but maybe they haven't sort of really thought about it clearly. But each emotion has a different feeling to it. And you know this, and everybody will know this, because happiness feels different to sorrow. When you're around someone who's happy or you're feeling these things, they have a different resonance to them. They almost have a different flavor to them. I sort of liken it to ice cream. You know, like sadness and grief and rejection and anger and betrayal and whatever emotion you want to think about, they all have a different nuance and a different flavor and a different feeling to them. So, but everyone here will have been around somebody anxious or angry and spent seconds with them and known, oh, are you okay? You feel like you're sad, you feel like you're this, you feel like you're that. So my spidey senses are just more in tune than most people's, because I spent a long time working on this. And then I dissolve it, and then it feels like nothing. So that's what I do. So yeah, so there's a heaviness. So then I can work on someone's, well, that's grief, that's sadness, that's rejection, that's betrayal, that's whatever. And then it's just empty, and it just feels like there's nothing there, and it sort of like hits a wall. And then it's just like, yeah, that's gone now. And then also I can do that with diseases. I worked on a lady a couple of days ago, Monday. I was working with a lady on Monday. It's now Wednesday. Anyway, I was working her. I don't know what's happened to time. I've got no sense of it whatsoever. I worked a lady on Monday, and she said she had problems with her knee, and that was a 10 out of 10. And I've got my textbook, which is just here. I use it all the time, called Metaphysical Anatomy. And that's the emotional reason behind diseases. See, it's dog-eared and messed up. I've had it for years.
For those people who are listening us, Antonia, who is the author?
This is called Metaphysical Anatomy by a lady called Yvette Rose.
Okay.
I'm not sponsored by her. I just think her book's brilliant, and it's my textbook that I get all my students to look at. So basically, this textbook's fantastic. So with the knee problem, for example, I read the textbook and everything, the page about what knee problems were, and I asked her what her pain level was, and it was a 10 out of 10. And then I dissolved the resonance with the words in the textbook, and within 10 minutes, it was a 0 out of 10, and she was walking around pain free, which was quite cool. And then it was really interesting. She said, my knee doesn't hurt, but all the muscles around it hurt. And I said, yeah, because you've not really used them for a long time. And now your knee's sort of in alignment. And then all the other muscles are just going to have to sort of recalibrate. And you might need some body work or something just to recalibrate all the muscles because they're all going to be in funny positions. And I did a chronic fatigue as well in 50 minutes. So we did the chronic fatigue and then we did her knee.
Unbelievable. And I could feel it on myself.
Mm-hmm.
I could feel instant relief. It was something
Yeah.
much deeper was sitting there that you were able to spot on.
I dissolved the whole story. So it's not just so we were working on grief and various different things for you, but I do everything past life, I do everything in your field, I do everything genetic, I do the whole of grief or rejection or abandonment or betrayal, the whole of it in your whole system simultaneously. Actually, the new one I've started to do this week as well. I've had a busy week. The new one I've started to do is stress. I've got a cat. I've got an old cat and I've got a new cat. And then old cat doesn't like the new cat. There's a whole thing. And she's been really stressed out about the situation. And I've been working through all these different emotions like betrayal and abandonment and jealousy and all these different emotions. And I keep on going into all these individual things for my cat. And then I just realized stress, because stress is
Mm.
such a big thing for people. I've never really done stress by itself because it's got so many nuances to it. It's such a big thing. But I cleared the stress in my cat around the other cat being here, or just stress in my cat, and and then she immediately calmed down. And now I'm working on the big kahuna, which is fear. I'm trying to do fear all in one blast. If you can do fear all in one blast, you can change everything. It's taking a few rounds, and I'm just doing it on my cat at the moment, but that's this week's work.
Antonia, may I use this opportunity for on my podcast and ask you if you could do a healing of the fear on me?
Fear of what? Fear's too big to do just one thing. But if you
Okay.
do, because it's so big. So if you've got fear of something, I can definitely
Mm-hmm.
do that. But I'm edging towards for my level 11 class, doing fear, the whole of fear in one go. I'm not quite there yet. I'm still having to do rounds in the cat, but I can certainly do fear of something. If you've got a specific situation in mind, and we can also extend it to your audience who can watch this on video whenever they do watch this, and they can have the feeling, the healing of fear as well. I can just embed it into the data in the video, and they can have the benefits of the healing too. So we can do that, but you have to choose what you're scared of. You choose your
Can I
fear.
choose any fear?
Yep. Yep. Any fear you want.
Okay. I feel like it would be more fear of public speaking. I
She
know it
says,
sounds
doing a podcast.
I know it sounds so it sounds so weird and silly, but very often inside me it's like everything's shaking.
Okay, no problem. Whatever your fear is, honey bunny, we'll do whatever one you'd like me to do. No problem. Okay, so for those of you at home, decide on a fear. If you've got multiple fears, rewind, rewatch. You can
Mhm.
do several of them. So just choose one. So don't get too worried about which one it is. Just pick one and let's grade them. So we want something which is quite a severe thing. So maybe a 7, 8, 9 out of 10 severity wise. So something which is pretty upsetting. You can go lower, but you just have more of an impact if you go higher. So everyone just grade it because we're going to be checking in and making sure it's gone. So Anna, where are you on the grade? Is it 7 out of 10? Where are you? 10? Where are you?
If I start thinking about myself going on the stage, it would be probably 8 or 9.
Lovely. Okay. So everyone know what it is. So specifying one particular thing you're scared of, grade in your minds or write it down, whatever you prefer. And let's do it. So please, everybody, just close your eyes and I will dissolve the resonance with that and then we'll check in. It might go in one go, might have a couple of rounds, but we'll check in. All right, let's go. Close your eyes and do this. Okay, let's do a little check in. Anna, where are you? Is it still a 9-ish or is it less? What is it?
It's like 0.0001. You know, Antonia, you know what's happened right now? You know what's happened? As soon as I started to think about me going on the stage and speak, I don't know, what's on our left side? Is it spleen here? Something?
Could
Liver
be
is
your
on the
liver.
right. Liver.
Opposite your liver. Stomach could be part of your stomach, could be.
Something on this side. Like I felt such a pain. I think it's our
Is it
spleen.
your back, your kidneys?
Or
Or
may,
is it behind? No, it's front.
no,
I
no,
don't know.
just here. You can't see. Just here. I felt like horrendous pain. And when you started to heal, when you started to this breathing, it felt like the pain, like the
Sucked
pain
it
was
out.
sucked it out. Exactly, that's how it feels. How is it even possible? It's zero now. It
Yeah.
doesn't hurt at all. Wow, wow. I really hope my listeners could feel it as well.
And everyone,
Unbelievable.
let us know in the comments beneath what you worked on, and if it went from a 10 to a 0 or a high number to a 0. If it's only gone to a 3 or a 4, rewind, rewatch it until it goes down to a 0. Just as simple as that. And do multiple ones. You can do all of your fears. Just line them up and keep going.
Antonia, how did you come to this divine empowerment? How did you become a healer?
I've had a weird life. I've spent a lot of the last 20 years in a trance state. So I have this idea, and I think more people have it too now, where we're all gods and goddesses who have no idea we're gods and goddesses. And I think we've got all these superpowers or siddhis in Sanskrit, spiritual superpowers, locked away within us. And they're just, they're very difficult to get out. I've spent a lot of my time in a trance state. So what happens is I'm in a trance. And so there were days, weeks, months where I didn't leave the house. I didn't leave my bed. I couldn't do anything. Well, I had to leave my bed to feed myself, but I would literally army crawl, trying to get across the floor, shimmy down the steps on my butt, crawl into the kitchen, put the kettle on and collapse. I was at that level of fatigue. And so it would be easy to assume I had some sort of chronic fatigue or sleep tiredness disease. But if it was my mum's birthday or something like that, that I had to go to that was planned, I would wake up and have all the energy in the world, which is something which isn't offered to people with these horrible diseases. So yeah, but I would spend days, weeks, months. I lost all my friendships. I couldn't maintain relationships. I couldn't date anyone. I couldn't do anything. I was literally a zombie off like off my head on the divine energy coming through and just absolutely exhausted. And the DOMS, the delayed onset muscle soreness, the amount of pain in my body to do this. Now, my ex was a professional Muay Thai or Thai boxing fighter, and it's one of the hardest sports in the world. And what they would used to do is soccer training. So what you would do as a professional athlete, a professional footballer, soccer player, what a Thai boxer would do was what the professional athlete would do in their training session would be the warm up for a Thai fighter, and then they would start punching and kicking each other, and then there would be DOMS afterwards, a delayed onset muscle soreness. When my ex-partner was living with me, the DOMS he had just being around me, and he was at 10% of what I get, he said was significantly worse than when he was a professional fighter. which is the hardest sport. So it was 10% of what I got. I was like, this is nothing, mate. You can actually get out of bed, like literally lifting myself up. But it's on awakening and changing my DNA and growing pains. And I've spent a lot of the last 20 years like that. And it's literally, I can't focus, I can't think, I can't do anything. I'm just sitting there spaced out and watching Netflix. Like I've just been completely incapacitated for years. And then you come out of the trance and you have superpowers. And then I teach the superpowers. So I awaken these superpowers in other people, dissolving traumas, dissolving diseases, dissolving all sorts of different things, and awakening to this work, because it's 5D healing. Like 5D seems to be this, on trend thing at the moment, but 3D healing is the stuff that everyone's familiar with. Maybe you're doing Reiki or angelic work or shamanic stuff or Wicca or whatever it might be. Anything with a process or a ceremony or a product that you need, maybe using crystals, maybe using I don't know, some sort of potion or ceremony, but you're using an intermediary or a card or whatever it might be to help you do the work.
Would plant medicine include?
Yeah, 3D. Plant
Mm-hmm.
medicine or anything where you're using some sort of tool to help you do it
Mm-hmm.
is 3D healing. 5D healing is awakening you to your God self and doing it just by intention. I don't need any process. I don't need any tools. Look, I love crystals. I've got amethyst wings. I've got huge 8-foot amethyst wings. I'm into crystals, but I don't need, and they support my system. It's useful to have that to support for my system because I'm doing crazy stuff. But when I'm doing healing, I set an intention and do it. And it's the same as, like everything else we do in life. Like if you want to lift your arm, you just intend to lift your arm. Once you know how to do it, you can do it. I just set the intention and do it. And it's 5D healing. It's where we're going with it. I don't need tools or potions or beings or anything else, because I've awoken my energy system to the point where I now have abilities. And I teach these abilities because awakening or enlightenment is a losing game. You lose all the stuff that prevents you from being enlightened. So I remove all the layers of crud from my system, and then I get loads of superpowers. And I teach that.
Antonia, but if it's an instant, like instant healing,
Yes.
for how long you usually see your client, like
One session.
to heal? Just one session, like literally one
I
session.
very rarely have people come back to me. It's annoying. I'm quite expensive because I don't have second visits because I fix things in one session. I tend to. It's unusual if I don't. Sometimes it happens. It depends. Like if someone has loads of traumas and they want me to be working on this and this and this and this and this and this, like loads of things, and I occasionally have people like that and they want everything spring cleaned. But like if it's for a single disease, okay, for a liquid-based disease and a gas-based disease, it should be one session. Solids are much harder. Let me talk to you about what the heck I'm talking about. So,
Yes, please.
when you hang around somebody who's sad or angry or upset, you spend 2 seconds with them, they're radiating, you can feel it in the air around them. It's like a gas, their emotions like a gas hanging around. Gas-based diseases, thoughts-based diseases. Thoughts are gases because they hang around people and they fill a room. You walk into a room after an argument, you can feel it in the air. You walk into a room after your friends have had some sex, and you're like, ooh, you can feel it in the air. Like emotion just sits in the air, right? That's a gas. Then you've got liquid-based diseases. A liquid-based disease would be something, think about what performs like a liquid. Chronic pain. Sometimes it's a 2 out of 10. Sometimes it's a 10 out of 10. Sometimes it moves. Back pain doesn't stay in a fixed location, nor does something like fibromyalgia. It's up and down the body in different places. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. That's a liquid. It behaves like a liquid. It flows around the body. Another example of a liquid would be a cyst. A cyst is a ball of fluid. Anything blood related, so it's a liquid. Anything blood related, immune related, lymph related is a liquid. And then you've got solid based disease. It's something like a tumor. You press a tumor, it's rock hard. It's a solid, gas, liquid, solid. And everything in creation goes through the same process. So what happens is the quality of the thoughts, what the heck you're thinking about or obsessing on, over, or fixated upon, has a specific location in your body. You're thinking about, I don't know, grief is to do with your lungs, for example, or your kidneys are to do with fear, for example. That's why I thought it might be your kidneys earlier. So what happens is you get stuck in that thought pattern, and that gas, because it has to go somewhere. If you put enough gas into a finite space, it just gets tighter and tighter and tighter. The molecules slow down and it becomes a liquid. Enough gas becomes a liquid if you put enough of it in and keep pushing it in. And then the same thing, more and more gas, which is thoughts, condense, 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 becomes a solid. Diseases are frozen traumas. It's condensed thoughts. You get fixated on something and it just compresses into a liquid or a solid. I can do liquid-based diseases, tends to work in one session. Some solid-based diseases work in one session. They are harder to do because they've got more to it. Like I had my friend who had basal cell carcinoma and I got rid of that in one session. It's gone in 5 days. I've got pictures of that before and after. I've got pictures of my ovarian cyst, which was years ago, and that went in 3 days. I've got the scan before and the scan after, and you can see that it was quite big. It was the volume was 22 centimeters for volume, but it was like 2.5 by 4 by 3.6, I think, in my ovary, and that was gone in 3 days when I worked on the emotions and dissolved that, and I felt it just dissipate and pop, and it was gone.
Amazing. I believe in this. I believe that we can heal ourselves instantly because removing emotions, this is the core. This is the
Well,
main
it is.
thing.
People have misunderstood diseases, and it's so much media driven as well. We think diseases are out to get us, and there's this war on cancer, the war on something else. Diseases, I know this is going to be controversial. It might piss you off. I'm sorry if this pisses you off. However, let me tell you the truth. You know,
Yes, please.
the truth will set you free. It may piss you off first. So, diseases are neon signs telling us where we're stuck emotionally. That's all they are. They're saying, hey, honey, you are fixated on this. You need to let it go. Forgiveness is the foundation of every religion because if you don't forgive stuff and you keep getting stuck in things, then that's what happens. You get a disease. It's just your thoughts, your fixation on something horrible that happened to you. And the immortal words of Elsa, let it go or it'll kill you. And it will just keep getting worse and worse and worse. You know, you're like what Buddha said, it was holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Yeah.
Just let it go in whatever way you can. If you've got any way to release it, I mean, like the Jews have got Yom Kippur and everything has to be forgiven on that day. In the Catholic Church, you've got confession and everything has to be forgiven when you atone for it. There is a huge all these religions have got these different things around forgiveness. It's super duper important. Otherwise, it'll kill you. Tough. That's the end of the story. You have to let it go. And I can fast track forgive people. So if people have a session with me or one of my practitioners, I've got practitioners as well. If they have a session with one of us, then things just are gone. The emotions are gone, and the emotions cause the disease, and the disease has a purpose. It's just to show you where you're stuck emotionally. Without that stuck emotion, the disease ceases to have a purpose and it falls away.
Antonia, I'm so grateful for you to talk about this. And I'm just looking at you and I can feel your energy. You're like you're radiating this light. How did you keep yourself so energized, so positive?
I'm tired today. I've just been surfing on a 2-hour surf lesson. I'm bloody knackered, and I've got a book to write, which I'm not supposed to be talking about. But yeah, I'm happy. I've dissolved all the stuff that stops me from being bloody happy. What happens is, right, you know, kids whose parents are addicts or very sick, or there's some sort of awful situation that the kids growing up in, those kids become super serious. So what happens is trauma and stress makes you more serious and it makes you more stuck. And this is the whole vibration as well. Like the more difficult situations you've had, they just sort of layer on top of you, layer on top of you, layer on top of you. And then you become much more serious and much more rigid and a lot more strict and a lot more stern and a lot more boring, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So if you remove all this stuff out of yourself, you become free and you become happy and you become blissed out and you become really, in a really good state. But I was talking to your friend the other day.
Daniel Hanna?
Yes, I was talking to
Uh-huh.
him the other day because Laban was saying that there was this, he had this energy, he was emitting pure love. And I was speaking to Daniel about it and I was asking him what my vibration was, and he wouldn't tell me because he said he doesn't grade people. And I was like, right, well, a number's come to my head. And I said, but I don't know anything about this really, but a number's come to my head. So, well, what's the number? And I said, 640. And he said, who was like, that's a really interesting number because that's the beginning of Buddhahood. And I went, is it? I said, I don't know anything about this, but that's the number that I was told when I asked this question. So my vibration's somewhere around there. And he was like, that's a really specific number. And I went, I don't know what I'm talking about. That's what they told me.
It's a really high number.
Yeah, I'm not surprised about that though.
Not many
I'm
people.
dissolving diseases. You
Yeah.
know, you have to have a high vibration to be consistently dissolving diseases. There are some amazing people who are doing things. Like I was just listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's a friggin' legend, and I
Mm-hmm.
was listening to a podcast with him yesterday. But you know, the work that they're doing is absolutely incredible. But they're doing it in a groups. They have to go through a lot of different meditation steps and get themselves into a certain vibration to be able to do it. And they're doing it collectively with, I don't know, thousands of people at a time. And you know, that helps significantly to raise the vibration. I do it all day every day. I don't, you know, leave a vibration. I have to go anywhere to do anything. I don't have to use steps. I read the textbook. My steps is a textbook because that's just opens up the Pandora's doors, you know, to see what the emotions are about. There will be a point when I don't need the textbook. I'm looking forward to that point. That is my crutch. But you know, we need to, also it's quite good for people to identify what the problem is. And so they know, so they sort of can learn about it, and they have these eureka moments about what's going on in their life. So that is quite useful. But at some point, I won't need that.
Antonia, I have a question
Yes.
for you, tricky question. And let me know if you don't want to talk about it. But from your point of view, from a healer point of view, what do you think is happening in the world right now? Because so many people just need to hear your message.
I think we're learning courage. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
think is happening. I think we're learning. I think this is the optimal opportunity to learn some courage. So you can't ascend into 5D without courage. That is a stepping stone from 3D to 5D is courage. And if people don't put their big girl pants on or big boy pants on, they ain't going to make it. They're not going to make it into the 5D world. So it's time, you know, we are facing significant adversity and difficult times all around. And it's when you're too comfortable, there's no opportunity to be courageous. When things go to shit, you have the opportunity to stand up and say, I ain't doing this anymore. You know, if you're too comfortable, you're not courageous. There's just no need for it. So it's the opportunity to be courageous and then step into 5D. That's what I think is going on. I think that's happening globally.
As they say, a good time creates a weak man creates a bad time creates a strong man. That's what's happening now.
Yeah, I think it is because I mean, I just had this flash this morning as I was doing my makeup, getting ready for this show. I remembered that I was in a makeup store, and the I don't remember if it was a man or a woman. There was somebody there, the person who was helping me with my makeup anyway, because I'd been surfing and I had a surfer's tan. So surfer's tan is just like in England because it's cold. You have it around your neck. So you know we have the top of your wetsuit. You have like that's your face is brown, your neck is brown, the rest of it's white, and then you have white. You have dark hands.
Mhm.
Um, surface tan. Anyway, so this lady, or whoever it was, say lady, said something about my neck being a different color to my face, and
Mhm.
and I was like, yeah, I'm a surfer. It's a surfer's tan. She goes, that's just. I couldn't imagine anything worse. That's the worst thing that could ever happen to me, having a neck, a face a different color to my neck. And I was like, damn, that's the worst thing that could ever happen to you, mate. You need to go to war. I mean, really? You like if that's the level of woo, you know, that's like that's just completely unimaginable. She was horrified that that could be a thing. And I'm like, mate, you need to have some real adversity in your life because if that sort of thing freaks you out, you're fucked. Really, truly, deeply. You know, like it's not something that most people would even notice. We need to grow a pair. Everybody needs to just step into our power. And I think society has made us very weak. I think people have become very weak and victims of everything. Sorry, excuse me. Everyone's victims. And there's victim consciousness and being offended. It's your choice to be offended or not, mate. Why are you letting somebody else screw you up? I don't understand this whole offended thing. If you don't like it, walk away. When you're really like in your power, then the insignificant actions of others doesn't bother you. That's their stuff. Someone saying something that you don't like or saying something mean to you in some capacity is irrelevant. It shouldn't matter. And being offended, I don't think matters, really. I think don't go ahead, don't go, always be kind. But to have this whole society where they think that it's, paramount to physical abuse. There's this whole thing going on in America, I know, at the moment, where they're saying that, being a bit mean to someone, which I don't like, being mean, don't be mean, is the same as actual physical, like being punched in the face. It's just not. I think everybody just needs to calm the hell down. But I also think it's all this stress that people are going through, we just need a bit of adversity and actually to step into our power, and then be pushed a bit more and pushed a bit more and pushed a bit more and find ourselves. Because when we find courage and we've got a sense of purpose, we become a lot happier and more productive as a society. If we never face any adversity, we're lost.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And what I've noticed with myself before I was, and talking about stepping into your power, before I was really dependent on outside world, whatever people would tell me, whatever I would see, whatever I would hear, it would literally tell me what emotions I will be feeling. But now I feel like I am creating my life from inside out. So it doesn't matter what's happening.
Self-regulating.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what's happening outside. Inside, I'm always calm and happy. Not always, most of the
That's right.
time. Antonia, is it about divine empowerment? Like when you literally
Sorry, there's a spider that's just come down from the ceiling. It's tiny, but it's just like there's a floating spider just in front of my screen. Hello, Mr.
It's a good
Spider.
luck. It's a good luck.
It's bizarre. It's just there. Anyway, continue. Sorry. What was the question? Hello.
What
Oh, yeah.
the divine empowerment is about?
It's about becoming a god. Yeah, I think we're all gods and goddesses who've forgotten it. And I just think that, the last few thousand years, there's been very few people who've had these ascended abilities. And the ascended abilities are bloody difficult to get for me and for other adepts behind in the past. I can teach them dead easy. You just watch videos online that I've got, and you watch these videos and you get superpowers. But I think it's the easiest way it's ever been. If you do it to the ancient Egyptians mystery schools, they needed to learn courage as well. And they would learn courage by swimming across crocodile infested waters and then
Oh my
having like
goodness.
a knife to their throat or to their chest and not flinching. You can't ascend into 5D with it unless you've dealt with your fear and you've grown some courage. Yeah, that's really important. But yeah, I think we've got these superpowers coming. I think we're going to be going to this new age. And I think everyone needs to go and, well, take my courses and get superpowers and also get happy and get well. In level 1, you learn how to dissolve traumas. If you can do that, solo trauma events, like a single thing at a time, if you can do that, you can self-regulate, because you can go and you can audit your life and you can go through all the horrible things that happen to you and neutralize them. And then you can do it in live in situations. If you get super stressed out, something awful happens, you can dissolve it instantaneously. That, if you actually do it, can prevent you from getting sick. It really, really can. So prevention is better than a cure. So just, you can do that, self-regulate, and also don't get so stressed out when things like adversity hits you. We've all got adversity. There are always going to be difficult days. But how do you react to it? Do you behave with grace and dignity, or do you have a meltdown? And once you start dissolving your traumas, the distance is further. So, for me to get into fear or sadness or grief, it's a long way away from where I live. It's a really long way. So it's really hard. I mean, look, I was surfing today and it was difficult conditions. And my instructor was saying, you got dunked a few times and it was 43-degree winds, and I'm a beginner surfer and I did get smashed about a bit today. And he's like, yeah, you just don't really go into fear. And I was like, I don't do fear. I don't do fear. I'm not interested in it. I've decided, no, you can choose these things. But for me to actually go from my high vibration to fear, there's so many steps down. And once you clear your grief, your rejection, your betrayal, your abandonment, your whatever those different ones are, it's the distance is so far, it's very difficult for you to get there. Sometimes if you've had a few drinks, that can happen because there are other things at play there. But most of the time, it has to be compounded. It has to be like loads of abandonment, loads of horrible things happen to you all in a row for you to be able to bring your vibration down. But you just don't get as affected and you just don't react. It's not that you're avoiding these confrontations. It's just when they happen, you go, that sucks. You know, something adverse happens. You just go, that bloody sucks. And rather than having a meltdown or a tantrum, you're just like, well, that, I do it all the time. I'm like, well, that sucks. Right, how do we fix it? And I say a phrase to myself all the time, which is suck it up, buttercup. Like when things don't go my way, suck it up, buttercup, rather than sitting there and getting upset about it. You getting upset or us, anyone getting upset about a situation is a bloody waste of time. Go fix it. Always go fix it. Stop sitting there. And I think everyone is so, I don't know, self-indulgent emotionally. And I've done it myself, and we can sit there and we can have pity parties and get stuck in these things. And it's, if you're in a pity party, it's really difficult to get out of a pity party, but then dissolve your traumas so that the distance is such a long way. And if I find myself feeling sorry for myself, I do say, suck it up, buttercup, and I go and fix it. And the thing is, look, if anyone who's watching this now has got traumas and is overwhelmed with things, go to my website, divineempowerment.co.uk, and there's a free video. It's longer than the one we've just done now, and you can dissolve pretty much any trauma just by watching this free video. It's got 3 rounds of what we've just done, and any big trauma. So we just worked on fear, but if it's grief, like maybe somebody passed, or there's some breakup, or any other situation that you've got, some abuse of some description, watch that video on my website and divineempowerment.com, and it will dissolve it. It's 3 rounds and you go from a 10, it will go down, and so you can dissolve a trauma. And watch that video 20 times, 100 times, and dissolve your stuff so that your space becomes bigger. You know, that's free. It's easy for you to do. If you want to have a proper MOT and go through everything, because that will do a solo trauma event at a time. But if you book in with me or one of my practitioners, we can do all of the whole theme of emotions, all of your rejection, all of your betrayal, all of your abandonment, which are the core emotions, or we can work on physical issues as well. So, you know, you can do it for free. So there's really no excuse to be stuck in these traumas, because you're becoming, you can choose to be a victim or a victor. Which one do you want to be? Because it's your opportunity now to make that choice. It's free on my website, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Start dissolving your traumas and then start helping other people. My course isn't very expensive. It's, you know, you do it online, you just watch videos. The first one's £333. If you want to do the level 1, 2, and 3 together, it's £799. You can pay for it over the course of 3 months. It's really easy to do. And you can dissolve all these traumas, and you can start helping other people and start ascending into 5D, your energy system. If people, you know, think of this ascension, this solar flash, and are aware of all these spiritual things that are happening, if you want to win this bloody race, do these courses, because it would just, it's going to leapfrog you ahead of the other people in humanity, because I don't know anyone on the planet who's doing anything like what I'm doing. You watch videos, remove blockages, and you get superpowers. I mean, I don't know what more to say.
That's how easy it is. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, how you say.
I mean, that, for you guys, yeah, for me it sucked. For you guys, you watch some videos. You sit at home, lay in bed, watch some videos, get superpowers. I mean, that's the easiest way. Modern technology has made this all possible.
Perfect. And we will post the link in the comments under this podcast as well, so people can find you. Antonia, wow, what a powerful conversation. Thank you so much. Just before we go, do you have any other places where people can go and check your more story of healing?
Absolutely. So I've got my website, I just mentioned, divineempowerment.com. I mean, you can find me, Antonia the Wizard would find me. It's easy. I'm a wizard because it's higher level magic. 5D healing's wizardry. Witchery is 3D healing, where you're using potions and spells. And a male witch is called a warlock or another witch. Wizards are just using pure energies. That's why I say we're a wizard. Or a sorcerer. I like sorcerer because you're using source energy to do a source. Anyway, so yeah, my Instagram is Antonia_Harman or Divine Empowerment, as is my YouTube, as is my website. So if anyone has any questions, you can email at info@divineempowerment.co.uk. I've got the .com and the UK, so whichever one you want. For the website. Yeah, Instagram I'm really active on. I'm doing a trade show. If anyone's in the UK, I'm doing Mind, Body, Soul and Mind, Body, Spirit. I'm going to be talking at. And then I'm doing a retreat in Morocco. All information is on my newsletter. So sign up for the newsletter and you can get discounts and various different products and various different things if you would like to. But yeah, Instagram I'm really active on. YouTube I'm active. I'm on Facebook as well and LinkedIn. And I'm trying to be more active on them. But Instagram I'm good on, and I'm doing lots of videos for my YouTube and my mailing list. So yeah, divineempowerment.com to join the mailing list and get that video where you can dissolve your traumas, as many as you like, for free.
Perfect. Antonia, before we go, do you have
Yes.
any concluding thoughts?
Dissolve your traumas and be happy. I mean, really, look, if you've watched this podcast, I'm telling you, unhappiness is a choice. It's a choice. You can
100%.
literally watch my bloody videos, dissolve your traumas and become happy. And if you choose not to, that's on you, boo. Like, really, there is no need to be suffering. If you've got diseases get dissolved quickly. You can pay for things over 3 months. I'm quite expensive, but my students are a third of the price of me, and they can do what I do, and you can pay for things over 3 months. So book in, get well, and stop being, stop wasting time. Like, the time is now. This is your call to action. Do the video though. Look, dip your toe in. Go to my website, divineempowerment.com. Do the free video, dissolve some traumas. See how you feel. And if you've got anything else, book in. Because the time is now. Because, I mean, when is a better time to get well than now? Suffering is optional. Choose not to.
Yeah, stop wasting your time. Stop wasting your time. Do it now. Ladies and gentlemen, Antonia Harman.